95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
One of the frequently asked questions during the COVID-19 pandemic is if you've had 2 doses of your COVID-19 shot, should you continue wearing a mask? And the guidance and guidelines around the world have varied. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention from the United States, in fact, told people that if you're fully vaccinated, you can resume normal activities without wearing a mask. But now, the World Health Organization has said something that is entirely different.
Yes, and they are urging people who are fully vaccinated to continue to wear the face masks as the Delta variant spreads, and that is the big talker for the time being. Everyone talking about the big old Delta variant. A lot of GCC countries have reported the prevalence of a Delta variant in their countries, apart from the United Arab Emirates. WHO officials say they are asking fully vaccinated people to continue to play it safe, and I think that would be the safe bet, really. A large portion of the world remains unvaccinated, and highly contagious variants like Delta are spreading in many countries. And this is exactly why Saudi Arabia has also emphasized, saying that the reason why we have the local Hajj pilgrims is because large portions of the world remain unvaccinated, so they can't risk it. The famous WSJ, the Wall Street Journal, reported on Friday that about half of adults infected in an outbreak of Delta variant in countries around this region were fully vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine, and that prompted governments there to reimpose an indoor mask requirement and other measures. And those countries were also one of the very first few who said you don't have to wear face masks. So big changes are taking place, indeed.
Yeah, big changes are indeed taking place. And the guidance from experts, initially when they said, even if you had taken the COVID-19 shot, that's not going to stop the COVID-19 transmission. You could still spread the virus. Common sense would state that, hey, if that's the case, if this protection is not ironclad and it's still possible to spread the virus, then it's probably better to wear a mask to minimize that. And that's what Dr. Mariangela Simao said, the World Health Organization Assistant Director General for Access to Medicines and Health Products. She said people can't just feel safe because they have the 2 doses. They still need to protect themselves. She said vaccine alone won't stop community transmission. People need to continue to use masks consistently, be in ventilated spaces, hand hygiene, the physical distance, avoid crowding. This still continues to be extremely important, even if you're vaccinated, when you have a community transmission that is ongoing.
Yes, of course, and it is the big thing about the world of Delta variant, and many people are getting confused in terms of what it is all about. It is described as a highly contagious COVID-19 variant, first identified in India, and is becoming the dominant strain of the disease worldwide. Studies suggest that Delta is around 60% more transmissible than Alpha, the variant first identified in the UK. That was more contagious than the original strain that emerged from Wuhan in China. Now, viruses constantly mutate, and that's what pretty much everyone knows that. And this version of the coronavirus has now been found in more than 80 countries since it was first detected in India. It got its name from the WHO, which names notable variants after the letters of the Greek alphabet. So that's why we've got the Delta. But they say that studies have been looking at the fact that most vaccines actually work against these variants, including the Delta variant, so we don't have to panic too much about it.
Yeah, and it's not just vaccines as well. People who've had past COVID infections also have a significant protection against those newer variants from COVID-19. Although experts still continue to study and research whether vaccine coverage at the moment and past infections, the protection we get from that, is enough to combat the spread of the Delta variant, not just around the world, but especially in India, where there are fears of a third wave incoming, especially given the rates of vaccination among the population. It's not like every single person has had the COVID-19 vaccine, the full shots. The numbers are maybe just in the low double digits, below 20% at most. So experts unanimously agree that people cannot take COVID-19 lightly, even when you're vaccinated, because you just can't afford to lose on that battle or make losses of any kind.
Exactly. So we'll have to keep a close eye on the developments surrounding the Delta variant. But as an individual, I'd still say just wear your face masks.
Yeah,
wherever you
really.
go. You know, certain countries such as Greece, for example, if you're one of those holiday makers who are jumping on the bandwagon of Greek tourism, yes, Greece has said that if you are going to be outdoors, you don't have to wear a face mask. Well, guys, just wear it.
Is it really a big deal? I'm so used to it by now.
Yeah.
Just slap it on. It's not a big deal at all.
It's just like a coat, really.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like some winter coat that you got to wear. And it's something we're used to. And I think nowadays a lot of people themselves realize, oh my God, I don't have my face mask on. And then there's a lot of eateries and a lot of venues that actually have it in front of their receptions, and they say, okay, and if you've lost your mask or if you've misplaced it or didn't bring it, here's the face mask. And it's a good way for some guys who haven't shaved in a very long time to hide it. It's okay. Some ladies who are a bit more conscious about the makeup would just wear it and be fine, really.
I was just thinking about that. You're feeling shy? Just put it on.
Just put it on, you'll be fine, really. And if you're in a bad mood, just put it on. No one will know. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. It is going to be Imagine Dragons up next to keep you motivated this morning. And then we've got some discussions from the region. This is the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Not only shaping headlines, shaping conversations, because everyone's gearing up for what's coming up next weekend, or not next weekend, next month,
Yeah.
rather. It's the long Eid holidays, and everyone has now decided to make their well-known plans and say, you know what? Let's head on over to Europe. Let's head on out to the popular destinations such as the Maldives, or do something, because it is kind of hot to do a staycation, but some people still want to do staycations. And there's also an option now for many people who want to go back to the UK. They can start planning their holidays a bit earlier because the green list is expanding.
Exactly. The UK has amended its green list, adding several European countries. So if people from the UAE are looking to visit the United Kingdom for the summer, they have a wider range of stopover options. So passengers arriving from Malta, Madeira, Balearic Islands, which comprised of Ibiza, Menorca, Mallorca, and Formentera, and several Caribbean islands, can now enter the United Kingdom without having to quarantine. And these changes are set to take effect from 4 a.m. starting on Wednesday, June 30th. And in the past, the UK was one of the UAE's top 5 destinations for holidays and room nights, according to data compiled by analysts. However, since mid-January, the United Arab Emirates has been on the UK's red list, meaning anybody traveling from the United Arab Emirates must isolate in a rather expensive quarantine in a managed hotel for 10 days. And in order to avoid this requirement, people in the United Arab Emirates who want to travel back home to the United Kingdom to visit their friends and family are traveling first to a green or amber list country to see out those 10 days first before going back to the United Kingdom. So great to see more options propping up for those people, and should make the pill of having to go through the all of this just to go home, it might make it a little bit easier to swallow with those restrictions easing a little bit.
Just a bit worried at the moment because there's 4 vaccines approved by the UK, so they're trying to announce plans also to remove the self-isolation period for travellers from amber list countries who are fully vaccinated, with full details to be set out next month. And the only 4 vaccines they've approved are Pfizer, BioNTech, Oxford, AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Janssen. So if you've got a Sinopharm, tough luck.
Yeah.
This is not cool. Well, the thing is, even amber countries such as, for example, Greece, for example, you go there and you want to go back to the UK, for example, after a few days you've spent there, it's just not ideal at all. Well, you had to get a Pfizer vaccine. That's what they're saying, basically. But let's see what happens. But so far, another news update emerging is Netherlands has announced plans to drop almost all COVID-19 restrictions from yesterday in a move that has surprised many officials. The restrictive measure against the COVID remain in Netherlands will be keeping 1.5 meters away from people. You have to wear face mask indoors, limit the number of visitors per household, and bans on the venues and recreational venues, and limits on number of visitors will not be so that they will not be allowed. This has brought an end to a month-long nightly curfew, which had resulted in violent riots and resentment from the general public as well. So that is the latest from Netherlands.
That's the Netherlands. France as well is opening up as well. And the thing about it is, and as you had stated, you got to have one of those 4 vaccines that you had mentioned, Sinopharm not being one of them. So it's looking pretty tough traveling to Europe if you're on a Sinopharm vaccination as opposed to something like Pfizer or AstraZeneca. So that's sort of another thing to watch out for, travel to Europe and getting the appropriate vaccine for that. It's pretty unfortunate it's that way, but that's what they're going to go with as well. We were talking a lot about Greece now. Greece has started opening up to tourists, and now visitors from more than 20 countries, including Britain and China, are allowed to visit for non-essential travel. So Greece is one of those big destinations. We got Spain as well. It kicked off its summer tourism season, welcoming vaccinated visitors from the United States and other countries, as well as European visitors who can prove that they are not infected. So when it comes to travel, especially for the upcoming Eid, all those specific places that people really want to go to, and Greece is definitely on the top of that list.
Oh yes, it is. When we had that discussion in the background of
just
our
now.
studios as well. So we just got to see that a lot of people are willing to travel to those destinations. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, really. So we're inviting you all to share your thoughts and opinions on the matter. If you've got any particular countries that you are planning on visiting and would like to visit, do let us know on the text lines 4215. So far, from what I am aware of, or what we're aware of, Austria remains closed. We might be wrong, might not be wrong. Let us know. But Germany is also another country that has opened things up for UAE residents and nationals. The only requirement is that you have one of those 4 approved EU vaccines. Sadly, Sinopharm does not make it on those lists. And what is even more frustrating is the one in the UK as well does not recognise the Sinopharm. So not very pleasant for many who might have taken the Sinopharm jab. But the government here said it during the Arab Health that it is okay to take the booster shot of Pfizer. So hopefully that is going to make things easier and better for us, because there's a lot of us who got vaccinated early in January. So we have some time to get the Pfizer BioNTech. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. If you'd like to contribute towards those discussions, would like to be part of the Majlis crew as well, text us on 4215. We shall return right after the business news headlines. You're listening to the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate. Pulse
95.
Well, looking at some launches that the Emirate of Sharjah is expecting to introduce to the public, and that is the world of environmentalism, and also looking at being a bit more conservative with your expenditure and your energy bills. The Conservation Department of the Sharjah Electricity, Water and Gas Authority has intensified its efforts to launch the peak hour activities, which the authority organises for the 7th year in a row, from 2:30 in the afternoon to 3:30. What is this peak hour? Well, the peak hour aims to attract the largest number of institutions, government departments, companies and community leaders to participate in supporting the initiatives under the directives of His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al Qasimi, Supreme Council member and ruler of Sharjah.
Yeah, and I think the idea here is to try and tone down electricity use during this particular time. And that's according to engineer Ghada Salim, director of the Conservation Department, that said that the interaction of government departments, private companies, establishments, and community members is going to be integral to this initiative, with people switching off, quote, unnecessary devices, conducting maintenance work, and promoting the initiative. She said that would contribute to achieving significant positive results and spreading the culture of preservation of natural resources. So that's a pretty interesting initiative. It's always great to have some kind of reminder of the impact of your consumption and what you can do to mitigate it, and just a positive role it plays in your community if you do that.
Yeah, and 2:30 to 3:30 is a very interesting time as well in terms of choosing it for the conservation effort, because a lot of us in our own households, and a lot of you who are working from home as well, would have noticed a spike in your energy consumption as a result of you switching your aircon on for a while. Yeah, when you wake up you might switch it off, but then you switch it back on again after it gets a bit too warm, and that's around 2:30 to 3, really, technically, if you think about it. And then it could be, and that is also the time when the heat is a lot, really. Yes, you have the 12 noon where the sun is at its peak, but 2:30 and 3:30 is also quite a hot time as well.
Exactly.
During the day. And the authorities saying they're going to be launching several different programs to promote this peak hour, targeting all groups and sectors of society, including competitions and campaigns on social media and other channels, and communication with various parties to support and promote the initiative through Zalal factory water bottles as well.
Yeah, and this peak hour initiative has been happening for years. It's something Siwa's been doing for some time now in order to raise awareness about how to rationalize your electricity use and turn off those unnecessary lights, and it really gets you thinking on how you could save up on that electricity bill. I happen to forget the lights on a lot of the time, the AC's blasting 24/7, so those are things that someone might want to think about in terms of rationalizing, because that would really help save money and also would have a pretty good impact on the environment.
Exactly, and it's not just you doing it. If you're in neighborhoods, your own tower block, for example, even if you're a villa compound, everyone's doing it. It does make a significant difference. So we will be getting in touch with the good old team from Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority. It is taking place on the 1st of July, which is going to be a Friday, and it is going to be the peak hour program. So we will be hearing from them hopefully later on in this week to know a little bit more about their plans for the peak hour. But let us know on the text lines 4215 what methods and what practices you adopt or use at home in terms of reducing your energy bills, or even getting everyone up to the mark when it comes to switching off those lights and maintaining your own household. So great initiative from the Sharjah Electricity and Water Authority. So we'll keep you posted about their efforts indeed. Well, stay with us on the morning Majlis. We are going to be letting you enjoy some musical entertainment, and we shall return right after the sports headlines, and we'll catch up with a lot of Euro 2020 discussions as well. You're listening to the morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Stay fit. Stay fit.
Stay fit.
Stay fit indeed, and we're talking all about the Euro 2020 and an emboldened Denmark squad. And I'd call it a fairy tale run, because ever since Christian Eriksen collapsed in the opening match against Finland and recovered, thank goodness, so we've seen a Denmark team that has been going through a roller coaster of emotion, of resilience, and we're seeing the remnants of this team just pick things up in a way that is just showing class and leadership and resilience amid these difficult circumstances, plowing through two teams in a row, and the latest result being a 4-0 victory against Wales. The team just keeps going, and who knows just how much they could accomplish given this momentum.
Yep, of course. And look, they're a side to be and a force to be reckoned with. You can't rule them out. Yes, they're not the best of all well-known teams on the circuit, but at least it's going to be a tough opponent. And Denmark, well done to them. Another opponent or another team that deserves a bit of a recognition is Italy. They had a heated and an intense match off against Austria yesterday, and Austria marking the first appearance in the knockout stages, but Italy pulling things through. They had the best of all chances in the first half, and they just, like, if you watched the game in the first half, you'd be frustrated. It was a 0-0 experience. It was very frustrating to see what's going to happen. But now they're going to meet the last 16 game between the winners of the last 16 game between Belgium and Portugal. So with this, what's happening at the circuit at the moment is all the good teams, the strong teams, are getting knocked out. So either Belgium or Portugal, either one of them can be knocked out. Then we have England versus Germany. Either one of those teams can be knocked out. So it really opens up the space for the lesser known teams or the lesser rated teams, such as Denmark or even Italy at this stage, to have a massive say in this competition. So lots of heated games to look forward to, and we wish all the teams their very best, really.
A lot of sleepless nights for us here as well.
Yes.
We got to wake up early tomorrow, but we've got the Belgium-Portugal game. I think it's at 11 today.
Yeah, it's not nice.
Not nice at all, but I'll be tuning in.
Yeah, we have
can't
to.
miss that.
It's also Netherlands encounter tonight, so that is something that we are looking forward to. Netherlands versus Czech Republic. It should be an easy game for Netherlands, and a lot of people are saying don't write them off. Netherlands has the chance, and Sweden and Ukraine as well at 11 p.m. on Tuesday. But I'm so excited for the big game. It is the England versus Germany, day after tomorrow, 8 p.m. All the hype for it for sure, and gearing up for such an important encounter indeed. So let's see what happens. But for the time being, the Majlis shall be heading off. We'll be back again tomorrow morning bright and early.
Yeah, we certainly will. And if you'd like to listen to the bits from the show, check out our podcast pages at Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcast. Do check out our YouTube channel as well at Pulse 95 Radio for show highlights and much more. Thank you all for tuning in to today's show. Hope to see you again at 7 a.m. But until then, stay tuned to Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of The Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse